Oh.
One was a puppy though.
Oh, okay.
He is a puppy.
You have to show us. All right, we are live on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Southern Girl. Does it say that? Hold on. It's still spinning. Oh, there we go. All right, we are live on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining this is Southern Girl. Does it say that? Hold on. Okay, yeah, we're live. Thank you all so much for joining us today. This is Southern Girl Speak, the Southern Girl GURL. And just like everyone, we are learning to navigate with technology to keep our purpose and our work going. I have with me today the Gerald Hassan. Say hello, Gerald.
Hey, peace and blessings, everybody. Sure, Hassan here.
All right, the prophet. I call you the prophet, Prophet Hassan.
But
Uh,
maybe you can explain that to us all one day.
yeah, you know what it means. And then I also have the Farrah Ratliff of DDT Fit. Hello, DDT.
Whoop, whoop. Hello, beautiful people.
How are you today, beautiful?
I am living and well and very thankful.
Thank you. I'm so glad you all joined me today. And I'm going to go ahead. I changed this so they can see us all at the same time. This is our first time on YouTube, and we're going to share this with the masses. We have come here to encourage, motivate, and inspire you as you try to get through this quarantine time. Now, we have come up with a body, mind, and soul series. So we're going to speak into every part of you, speak into your body, about the mind, about the soul, because all three of those components create who we are as a being. And we have to feed and to build up all of those capacities of who we are. So we're going to start today. And since this is pre-recorded, we're just going to give the information and share this. So Farrah, you are about the body, the bate. Now you got
Right.
everybody's in the house eating those snacks on those Oreo cookies, double stuff. What do you want to say to those people, Farrah?
Self-discipline. So you can have your snacks, but how disciplined are you when you have your little cheat moments? Are you overindulging? What are you doing that's creating you, what's causing you to overindulge? How about that? You know, we right now we're quarantining, we're stuck in place, and sometimes we forget about our goals. We think we have all the time in the world to get back on our health journey and that it's going to all come back too. But no, 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 baby, because just as much time it takes you to put weight on, it takes just that amount of time to get it off. So hold back on those Oreos and the
I
cookies
told
and the
on
ice
myself.
cream.
I told on myself.
Hey, it's okay. I'm gonna go ahead. My favorite is vanilla ice cream by Bluebell. So
Okay.
hey,
But
I
see, I
gotta
gotta
check
put
myself
Oreos
too.
in that.
No, I do graham crackers and it's so good.
That sounds okay. So yours
telling,
is the
I'm
vanilla with
telling
the
on
graham
myself
crackers.
too. So hey,
Okay.
you're not by yourself, people.
What's your quarantine snack, Gerald?
Let me think.
Is it a drink? Is it a snack or is it some of that, that yak?
Yeah, it's probably a drink. I don't think I have a particular snack. I'm not. I will say that sweets. That's not one of my problems. You know what I'm saying? It's not one of my challenges, really. But I will have a drink here now that I know it's not a plus. You know,
You're on chill mode, huh?
it's not a plus. It's just I think I don't know. I guess that's just what I'm. That's where I'm at. That's what I do right now. I can't think of no food particularly though that I mean, I look at a lot of food not bad. I mean, it's bad for us really. So all of it, you know,
Right.
that I'm dealing with. I feel like I know I need to cut back. So, but outside of that, I just have me a drink here now.
Just a little Grand Marnier, a little something. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Hey, as long as it's legal, that's what I say. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as that discipline piece, Fair, what do you we want to encourage people that are just starting out. Some people are seeing this as an opportunity. Like, I'm really going to get serious about my health and my body and my fitness. Just with the quarantine and with coronavirus, it definitely is something that targets the immune system. So people are being, we know that there's a group that's being a lot more health conscious and trying to work on their body, what are some tips or things when that discipline piece that you want to share about discipline?
Well, I always go with the mind. It starts with the mind every time. I can always talk about the mind. I can't talk about the body without incorporating and talking about the mind, because that's where it starts. So you have to be self-disciplined. As long as you're self-disciplined, we're going to have those struggles. But like I was talking earlier, like we can start making a list. We can start writing goals down. We can start writing times that we need to do things in the day. Like me now, I had gotten so comfortable going to sleep late. It's like now I'm like trying to smash these goals, and I'm just like, no, Farrah, you have to go to sleep a little earlier and you have to get up earlier, right? Because your body needs rest. You need to rest your mind, and then you can set your goals and, accomplish those things. Because every day we're going to run into obstacles. Every day something is new, because we don't know what the next day is going to bring. But what you do have control over is how you react in that situation. So even being overwhelmed in what we're going through today with the quarantine and the sense of just not knowing what tomorrow may bring, because it's just so much going on. So within my household, what I have done and also started incorporating more with my children is self-discipline, because everything is unbalanced at this time, and they're trying to get back into working, doing homework online, doing the Zooms, waking up early enough to even catch the Zoom. Me as a parent, I have trying to work my brand and trying to be at work and trying to, do this and still be a wife, then do the house clean, then gotta cook. It's a lot. So self-discipline is making time for each one of those things. And I think that's number one. I'm gonna do three things. Number one, set your goals, make a list, and write them down. And try to time them out throughout the day. Just like we were talking about the Oreo cookies, we can have a lot of self-indulgent moments, just being overwhelmed and just not caring about your health at times, just giving up. So my advice to you is to don't give up. You can still have those moments, because it's just life. And as long as you don't give up and keep pushing with your health and fitness goals, and you're setting those things, it's going to be okay. All right. So have one or two Oreo cookies on the house, okay? But
Doing
don't overindulge. Yeah, you can't
a
overindulge.
balance. It's
You
about
have to
balance.
balance it all out,
That's
right?
so
And
true.
so because it's just too much. What was you
No,
gonna say?
no, because you talked about, when I think about this, one thing that we all have in some aspect is time. So it seems like you said you've made a conscious effort with you and your family and your children, that even though you can lose the time in the day,
Oh yeah,
not even having to be at a place at a specific time. So everybody's in the house. So you said you created some routines and structure for
right,
your family within the structure that we're given. What are some
right.
tips or things that you've done to just bring some order to your home?
Baby, basically going to sleep earlier. Like I've been staying up past 1 a.m., sometimes because my day ends late, and I want to stay up and catch some movies, or watch a movie, or just have a little me time. That's when I get my me time. So I take it all in. But I've tried to go to sleep a little earlier, like an hour or two earlier. I've tried, get the kids in bed earlier. As far as them getting up, like this morning, they thought their daddy was crazy. He was just pulled the covers off. Some fire alarm, get up, because they're not used to just back in the school. You be at school by 8 o'clock. You're in the classroom learning. So it's just those things, making them get up. This is what we have to do. It's nothing we can change. Like I always tell my kids, some things we just have to do. Just like I have to get up and go to work, you have to get up and go to school. So it's just discipline in that way. It has to be done. So I think once you tell your kids and talk to them, like, y'all, it's school. Like, it has to be done. The work has to be done. You're at the end of the 6 weeks, press through, and you're going to be okay. Everything is afforded to you. You have the teachers. You can email them. Don't make it so hard. And then also, like Nicole helped me with today, being frustrated, it's like you being anxious about a lot of things. Just take it, throughout the day, calmness, stay calm with it all, and just, it's the way you talk to your kids, whatever, because sometimes, you can be overwhelmed and so many things that's going on within the household, you tend to lash out. And
That is,
so I
that is
try to work on that as well. So because it'd be a lot.
we're going to get to that. We're going to talk about the
Right.
flow. We're going to talk about their responding versus reacting, because that is
Yeah.
going to be key to the mental health right
Hmm.
now in our coping. Now, Gerald, do you want to support or add anything to that discipline that Farrah was speaking of?
I believe that discipline is definitely very, 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 very significant in regards to just achieving and accomplishing any type of goal. It's like one of the
Right.
things that we had touched on the last time we had all got together and spoke, and it was on, about knowledge. We quick to say, because of the saying that knowledge is power, right? But Napoleon Hill had once said that in the 17 principles of success is that knowledge is only potential power. It's only power when it's put into action. So it's like the thing that a lot of us know things, and it's a lot of us know things that we sometimes forget. And as soon as someone say it, we're like, oh yeah, I know that already. I know that already. But it's like, what good is it to you if you're not putting it into action? If a person don't see it manifesting, all that you say, if a person don't see it manifested in front of you, then like it's nothing. It means nothing, right? And so, and one of the things that I've just learned over, my years of study and observation and understanding is that it really just it requires discipline to apply anything that you know. How they say a lot of us are good at teaching, but ain't good at taking our own advice.
Right.
Because it takes a lot of discipline to carry out what you know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I just look at that as a very, very, very significant principle to embrace.
One of my sayings, as we go through our journey of transformation, like you said, when you know better, you do better, right?
Hmm.
And that's not always so easy to do. So something I tell myself is, better, act like it.
Right,
Okay?
Hmm.
Because
right,
when you know better, your actions should display the knowledge.
right.
Your actions, when you've been through certain situations and something else comes that's similar, you should act like you know better, right? So
Mhm.
that's one of the things that I tell myself as an accountability. You know better, act like it. And
Right.
so
Right.
that kind of keeps me from getting in my own way. And it's just like a self-assessment tool, because you're right. When it's not, it's different when you have that knowledge in the base and the discipline, when we know the things that we should do, we don't do. So
Right.
for those people that know that need to eat better, know that 24 hours a day that we have, people are working at home. Some people are working half a day now and at home. But when it comes to their work out there, the people are still making excuses. So when it comes to that discipline, what are some things when you really dig deep? What are some things that keep us from being disciplined?
Um,
Uh,
I think it's
You
oh,
coming back?
I didn't know who you were
Either
referring
one, whoever. This is
to. Go
fun. This
ahead.
is
Go ahead,
simple.
sir.
it has to be mastery of thought. You have to want, you have to have self-discipline over the way you think. Um, we can easily put things off because that's the easy way out, but you'll never accomplish your goal. For me, what I do is I understand that if you don't do it, nobody's going to do it for you. I understand that it takes this amount of discipline, it takes this amount of time, it takes this, for this to happen. I have to detox, I have to work out, I have to have portion control. I can't eat sluggish. I eat sluggish, then it causes me not to be so enthusiastic. It causes me not to be creative. It causes me to be sluggish. Those things are not going to benefit me. So once I understand that, I do better. So you know, little by little. Not, you can't always just do it, everything so fast. Little by little, what I tell people: first, stop drinking soda.
Mm-hmm.
If that's something you have a problem with, do that. You think you're eating too much sweets, stop eating sweets.
Mm-hmm.
Choose what is most affecting you at that time and work on that. and then day by day, just implement other things that will help you. Drink more water, So it's all about, like I say, mastery of thought, self-discipline. With doing these things, it's going to make you lack getting things done. So don't put so much on your plate, one day at a time, and just execute. Like I say, make a schedule, make time out in your day, and exercise, eat right, drink plenty of water, and just know that you can do this one day at a time. You guys, I always say that, one day at a time, because when
You
we
do.
overload ourselves, it just makes us anxious, makes us just give up too quick. So
You
I
do
think if you
always
do
say that
those
one day
things,
at a
it
time.
will really help you.
I said, you do always say that one day at a time.
I do. I do. I really, I'm so wholeheartedly on that, because I've experienced it and I know what it does. If I don't take it one day at a time, my mind just goes berserk worrying about tomorrow. Why?
And it
When
steals your
everything
joy.
is right here in front of me today, I need to accomplish.
It
Right.
takes your
So
joy
yeah,
away. Yeah, it
right.
steals your joy. What were you going to add, Mr. Hassan?
Say that question again.
We were talking about discipline.
Right.
So when you think of discipline, we know that our actions have to match our thought, which would carry it out. But
Hmm.
when we think about things that um, make us undisciplined, what would counteract us being disciplined? What are some of those things that attack that?
Right. Okay. Good.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I believe that the emotional state has
Mm.
a lot to do with why it's so difficult to remain on course. You know, whatever the desire and objective is, whatever, a lot of us know what we supposed to do and need to do, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to having the emotional stability to not be swayed off of that path and off of that course, because when you think about it, a lot of time, like let's just look at it from the aspect of finance. When we know we need to save better, or know we need to not spend a certain amount of money, or know we need to put it over here instead of over there. A lot of the times, the reason why we don't is behind some emotional force, I would say, which it can be fear. They
Mm.
just say it's from a fear of poverty, a fear of lacking, right? A fear of not being able to get something tomorrow that you can get right now. It can be from just what we say. It can be a coping mechanism. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It can be something that you use to get over certain feelings that you're having at the time, certain voids you're having at the time, certain feelings of invalidation. So it causes us to be, very, I would say, I guess we would say elusive or whatever with our money. And so, so that just looking at that from every, uh, I would say, angle, whether it be from a position of needing to study, a position of needing to achieve or accomplish or take care of any endeavor that you have to, that you are not forced to do. And you see, sometimes, like, when I think about the idea of, let's say, being late, a concept of being late, I once heard a person say that I stopped being late once I began to, how you put it, he said once he realized he was being very inconsiderate about another person's time,
Mm-hmm.
and how just like he was doing what he be doing because his time to him was so valuable. He had to shift and get outside of himself and know that, well, that other individual's time is just as
Mm-hmm.
valuable. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just I guess I use that because it's just that emotional thing. I would say one, definitely perspective. Like how we just perceive things. You know, is what caused us not to just apply the discipline necessary to carry out and fulfill certain things. But I lean more towards the emotional position. I think the emotional state, which again, the perspective affects us or influence the emotion. However, it's what that emotion does is what keeps us from being able to be consistent uh, in our endeavor.
I get that. And even as both of you are talking, I'm assessing myself. I get to assess how far I've come and how far I still need to go. And two things from your conversation sparked with me was procrastination And like you said, our emotions. And one thing we want to encourage you that are listening is how we don't want to be governed by our emotions, because our emotions, I always tell people, they're like visitors. When people come to visit you, do they stay? Do they?
No.
Right? No, they don't.
But do they stay sometime?
I mean,
Visitors.
they stay for a little bit,
A
and it depends
little
on the
bit.
time.
They can,
Right,
a visitor can stay with 2 weeks, a day, overnight. Sometimes we have visitors for 3 months. We're like, hey, what's up?
right,
Right?
right,
But the thing about the emotions, they are temporary. They are visitors.
right.
And so one thing I think we can all agree on is that as we've evolved, as we've gone through our journey, that we've learned to temper more our emotions. And I think that's why you spoke on that. The emotions will make how you feel. So when you're saying, hey, join me on Tuesday, 6 p.m., we're going for 30 minutes. If I'm watching my Netflix and I'm enjoying sitting with my kids, I might not feel like getting up, right? So it's
But
learning,
that goes back to discipline. That
right?
goes back to discipline. And you have to understand and you have to be ready for what's to come, that those little goals that you set, they're not going to happen.
That's
That it goes all the way back to self-discipline. You can have all the emotion in the world, but once you have that emotion, you have to be ready for the consequences behind that emotion as well.
And I really want to take a minute to let people marinate and say, because somebody's going to listen to this who needs it. And the key thing that we're all saying is you're doing the opposite of what you feel. You're
Right, right,
your feelings are not in the driver's seat. Okay,
right.
that's something that we have all had to learn to evolve from. A lot of
Mhm.
things that have gotten us in trouble, a lot of things that when we look back, we made the wrong decision, or ooh, I shouldn't have said that, because it was based off a reaction, it was based
Right,
off an emotion, or not doing something, or procrastinate, which is
right.
tied to a feeling too. So the main
Correct.
thing, right, that we're saying that ties to discipline is that you can't be governed by how you feel,
Right.
right?
Let me say something real fast. Because I wanted to just add just real quick in some other examples, because just think about how often you don't do something because you don't feel like it. You don't get up at a certain time because you don't feel like it. You don't
Yeah.
go take the trash out at 5 o'clock because you didn't feel like doing it. You'll do it at 5:30. You know what I'm saying? You don't wash the dishes right after you finish cooking because you didn't feel like doing it right then. You'll get it later. It's so many different things that you can walk around just your house alone that you didn't took care of, that you say you're gonna take care of. But if a person asks you why, you will say, because I'm gonna get it. Like, I ain't feel like doing it right then, and you feel like that's your prerogative, right? And while it is your prerogative, the thing about it is that you are programming yourself to respond to the way you feel, and
Right.
that's what's gonna. And once you set your subconscious up like that, it becomes easier and easier for
Right.
your feelings to control you, and you don't even be aware of it.
Come on,
Right. That's
prophet,
true.
say that.
That's
Yeah,
true.
And so it's just that is that's a very 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 serious thing. And you think
it is. It is very serious.
a lot of times we're controlled by our feelings. We control
That's true.
by our feelings. So
That is very true. I want to touch into something since we're talking about emotions. Before I do that, busy versus productive. What's the difference?
well, you can be busy doing nothing. I mean, you can be busy walking around throwing stuff everywhere. But if you
Mhm.
ain't putting it in order, or you got to go right back and put it up, it's like, what is you doing?
Mhm.
You can look busy, but are you really moving forward? Is it? And I would say busy. I mean, busy versus being productive. Productivity means that what you're doing is getting you closer to an objective. It's conducive towards your overall goal. Busy don't necessarily have nothing to do with that. You can be busy going backwards.
That is so true, Fair. I know you got something, and then I'm gonna add in.
Oh no, I second him on that. I don't have a rebuttal because it's a true statement. You can be busy doing nothing. You have
And
to your productivity what are you producing? You know what I'm saying? What's coming about from you being busy? If nothing's coming about, then it's a waste of time.
And I brought that up because we want to speak to people who are using this time and they're saying, okay, I finally have the time. I'm going to start. I'm going to step out. I'm going to make those connections. And Farrah, we had a pre-conference today. We're talking about people comparing themselves, and just
Right.
trying to learn is to work there and stay in your own lane. And I know
Right.
people before they had so much going on, and I'm like, I can barely balance work and home. Okay, just my responsibilities there, let
Right.
alone add on children or responsibilities and spouses and relationships. And there's some people that just seem like they're just so busy, 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 busy. And so there's people who want to be productive who are comparing
Right.
themselves to people who are busy, right? Sometimes
Right.
people are busy, like you said, Gerald, as a coping mechanism. So I've had friends, and when I learned, oh, you just didn't want to go home. Okay. So sometimes everybody has a different reason for what they're doing, So we just want to encourage people that there is a difference between being busy and being productive, and that you don't
Right.
have to have 20 things at one time to be productive or be perceived as having something to do. You can pick that
Mhm.
one thing and become a master of that one thing, right? What do y'all say to
Right.
that?
I agree.
I agree with that.
Okay, and then so I'm gonna go to responses. I'm gonna break down the difference between responses versus reacting, and I want you all to add. If you need to add while I'm going, it's fine. Okay, we're just gonna have a little fun because I needed this. Okay, it's a teaching that I do. It's a teaching that I share with others when I coach. And it came about because it's something that I had to realize about myself when I learned, oh, you are reacting to everything, right? And so
Right.
there is a difference between a response and a reaction. And we're speaking to this today because there's so many people in close quarters. You got parents at home with children and a husband or a spouse. The dog is barking, everything, to our women. To the men out there who have to put their boots on and be an essential worker and go out in the field and come home. I mean, everybody has pressures, even our kids. Their whole
Right.
world has been turned upside down, where they were able to go with their peer groups, with their friends, to their teachers, and they have their structure. Now they're like, oh my God, I'm home with them all day, right?
Right.
So it says responding. I'll go to reacting first. Reacting, the first thing it says is without thought. What do you think about that? Reacting is an action that comes about without thought.
Not thinking before you do.
Right. It's quick, it's without thought. A reaction is tense, it's aggressive. A reaction provokes more reactions. So, say someone triggers you and you react, now you trigger something in them, right? Now they're reacting. So, it's just
Right.
the energy of reacting creates more aggression, more reaction. It does not consider the effects of the words or the action. So it doesn't even have the time to process what will happen if I say this. What will happen if I do this? There is no time for that type of thought when you react. Raise your
Right.
hand if you've ever reacted. mm, okay. Now, and I got my foot up too, both of them. Okay.
Be truthful. Be
I'll
truthful now.
tell the truth. Okay. Now, responding is
Hold on, real quick.
calm.
Let me say something. I'm sorry. Let me add to
No,
that.
go ahead. I love it. Go ahead.
So with the reaction also, um, it's just an addition to that perspective is that um, it's also like when you react, you're not in control in a sense.
Come
Somebody
on. Yes.
controlling you. I mean that whatever it's either whatever the thing, place, or person is I ain't gonna say causing you to do it, but it's like they're in control of you. It's
Mhm.
not you're not mentally in control. Basically, it's kind of like the point I'm trying to make.
hmm So the main thing is you're out of what?
You're out of your mind.
You're out of your mind. But like you talk about the ladies that you deal with when they get, that's what men say is drama ladies. Okay, that's a whole nother.
I mean, because you out of your mental, you all in your emotional, you in your body, you know, yeah. So
And you know what? That is a good place to say you are literally, oh, that's powerful. I told you the prophet. You're literally out of your mind.
yeah,
Because when
You
you
have no self-control at that
no
time.
self-control, because when you're responding, you think first.
right.
That's the whole and that was the beauty of studying responding versus reacting, because that was the only difference.
Do you know, like, I've
Mhm.
been asked a lot of times, he said, like, why you mad? And I say, I don't ever get mad. I might get upset, I might get frustrated, but I'm never mad.
What's the difference?
Because
What's the
see,
difference?
mad is also by definition insanity. It's like you out of your mind. You understand what I'm
Have
saying?
you
Like
gone mad?
you're not thinking. So you
Yeah,
have to be careful, like when you also subscribe certain terminologies to yourself or to anyone, because I it is my perspective that words have a life of their own, and when you speak
I'll be
them,
right back. You keep going. I had an Amazon package coming, guys. You know we can go to the store. So this is live. I actually have a live package being delivered. I'll be right back. Keep going.
yeah. So I was just saying that it's I believe that words have uh, the ability to plant in you or in the soil of your mind or of your subconscious,
that's
and
true.
and actually begin to harvest and grow to the
Yeah,
point to where, I remember when I was young, it was a
yeah,
badge of honor to be considered crazy. For
yeah.
men, like in the hood, you crazy, that's like a badge of honor for men and women. Once they start calling you crazy, right? But here's the thing
Right.
about it: once they start calling you that, and you also embrace it, then you begin to act crazy.
That's right.
Then you become the impediment of that word itself.
Right.
And so it's very. I give words a lot of significance.
And it goes as such as learned behavior. Just as children can take on those words, just like we spoke the last time about men not supposed to cry. What irritates me is for a man to punch their son in the chest and tell him to toughen up. That irritates my soul.
Right,
So like, but
Yeah,
that's because they learned that from their father.
right,
that is
And they learned that from their father. That's why sometimes our men nowadays don't know how to be a father, because it's all learned behavior. Until you put yourself into and want to know better and do better, that's the only time it's going to happen, because you should know right from wrong. But you're so used to doing it, just like they call you a name. Like he said, growing up, they call you a name. You learn, to accept it. It becomes something you're just, gonna start accepting it, and you grow into it. Then you become this person.
who needs to
So
go through
that's
a
good.
process
I believe.
of healing. Then you continue that cycle, and they have to learn to break off those behaviors, that mindset, that programming, and it goes on and on. That's so
but
true.
hey, Nicole and Farrah, one of the reasons why, whether it be in relationships between man and woman or as parents, right, there is so much controversy between us all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Specifically amongst us, right? There's so much controversy and disagreement. It's because
Mhm.
when we start talking about right and wrong, what's a real man and what's not, what's a real woman and what's not, that's when it gets tricky, because all of it is a matter of perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You understand? So sometimes what's right to one person isn't
It's
wrong,
wrong to
isn't
another.
necessarily wrong to another, right? And so there
Mm-hmm.
would never be a real agreement along those lines there. We have to, when we get to looking at like more of a standard of something, we have to look at what we may consider our source of authority to govern that standard or that criteria,
Mhm.
right? So if I say what would be a standard of a mother or a father, then I would have to go to something that I really look or lean towards in regards to what governs my life, right? And so I believe in God and praise God, believe He the creator, He the manufacturer, all this, right? So therefore, the manufacturer should have the answers to how to operate. So if that's the case, if I do believe that and I stand on that, I'm gonna go to that source and try to build my standard and my criteria from by which to I guess you can say judge or look at something. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be him, her, this, that, another, right? And so, but a lot of times we don't look at each other according to the nature. The nature of a man and a woman are different, and the nature of a child is different. And the reason why we so out balanced and so everywhere with that whole idea is because we're trying to play with it from a psychological, position. And in the psyche of an individual, man, it's so different and distinctive. You can't pinpoint why and this, that, or another, based on the psyche, due to the fact that the way we think and perceive things is totally based on everything that you've experienced, you didn't experience, didn't know, and your biological makeup. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's no way that we can make a one what you call it like a one-way fix all type of recipe or whatever, a manual, you know what I'm saying, from that position.
Right.
Because it's not going to line up with everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's like no matter how much we want it to, it's not.
It's not, because of the different mindsets.
Right.
And I'm gonna close out on, because I know I had to step away. Thank you guys for continuing. That's what we're continuing.
You're welcome.
Okay, so responding is calm, non-threatening. You take a breath. A response is built based on information, not a feeling. Because when I go back, a lot of times I'm reacting, it's from a defensive place. I'm offended. I don't like what you said or did. I'm not thinking about anything but let you know that I did not like that or appreciate that. But when you respond, you have a conscious thought and you base it off information. It provokes discussion. So when you respond, you can still, I always say, you can have confrontation without being confrontational, right? So I can confront an issue. As we've grown and matured, we've just learned not to be confrontational about it, right? And so when you respond, it's going to provoke a discussion. You're going to be assertive. You're going to speak to the facts. And you're going to respond based on the facts, not a feeling, which provokes a healthy discussion. And so that's the main thing when we think about healing and we think about healthy relationships. The base word of that is heal, right? Or healthy. So we want to provoke a healthy discussion, and it leads to resolution. So when you think of reacting versus responding, when you reacted, did it really lead to the resolution that you wanted?
Nope.
Never did, right? It didn't usually come with worse and dire consequences that extended beyond what you were initially dealing with.
You know what? Sometimes I think like because we have those moments where that reaction seems to reward us, like everything, because everything has its pros and cons, right? And sometimes those reactions seem to reward us, right? When it's really not, but because we got the results that we kind of somewhat
Give me an example, because you got one on your mind. Give me an example.
Well, just think about how sometimes a person may be in a public setting, and let's just say the person behind the counter, you didn't like how the person behind the counter was dealing with you, right? Let's say you at a fast food or whatever, right? And you didn't like how the person behind the counter, let's say the person, you could tell they was prejudiced or snobby or whatever, right? And you didn't like the attitude. But you felt offended, right? You felt disrespected, right? And you see, those feelings are cause us sometimes to attack, right? So instead of us just maybe reporting the individual to a supervisor, or just getting our money and saying, you know what, I'm finna go, don't even worry about it, and just leaving. We oftentimes want the person to know who they dealing with and how effed up they got, right?
You know you're right. You know you're right about it. Yeah.
But that can lead to that person get more disrespectful. Then that can lead to you having to hit the person upside the head or slap the person or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And then bam, here we are. Both parties may go to jail.
We all seen
right?
Snap. We've all seen Snap.
Right? Yeah, both people may go to jail, and then here you go, you sitting up in a thing, and I don't tell them what you had planned, you had to go do. You know what I'm saying? For being you supposed to go pick the kids up, you was on your way to pick them up. You know what I'm saying? The car get towed and all other kind of stuff. And so it's like, even though it was your reason for doing it can be understandable, it was not conducive though to your overall objective.
Right.
And it takes a lot. Like my mom always told me, because I would get so hyped, and my mom will always tell me it's the way you speak. Because sometimes my words can be so hard, and a lot of people can't take hard words. But I always say I'm speaking out of love. But my mom has always told me, Farrah, it's the way you speak. And so she always tells me that you need to stop, breathe, inhale, exhale, and start again. And when she told me that one day, I was just so irritated. I was mad. She was like, well, Farrah, don't worry about it. Just stop, breathe, and start over. And I did it, and it worked. So I think if I take that a lot of things, instead of me reacting so fast and a lot of things, I start to think of the consequences. I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time for no car to get told. I don't think I want to fight today. I'm getting a little old. I just need, I really have, my mouth has really calmed down a lot since I've gotten older.
Because of the consequences, yeah.
And once we start to process that and understand that it's okay, you ain't no punk. You're just a little smarter now.
And the one thing I've learned, it takes more strength to restrain.
Yeah. That's the discipline part.
Yeah.
It takes so much strength.
Yeah.
The strength comes from the restraint.
Yes.
The weakness is blocked, right?
Right.
But as we mature and be renewed by our thinking, right, we grow to evolve to see how some of our aunties and some of our uncles, they just be chilling, don't nothing. We be like, dang, they don't nothing. But that's some maturity, right? So as we get older, we're able to sit in that and not feel like and that discipline is the restraint.
That's right. And I think you have to learn that as you get older.
You have to grow into that, but you have to be in an environment that's conducive to allow you to be that too.
Right, and you have to be aware of the fact that the way you've been doing it isn't working. You have to first be aware that it's not working, and you have to do different. And then that's where you can start working on it. But like what you just said, Farrah, about the whole breathe thing. You know what you just said, Farrah, about the breathing deal?
Right.
I've learned that what that does is counteract your flight or fight response that your body is going through.
That's good.
Whenever we become offensive or defensive, upset, that's why we have to be careful when we get to arguing and raising our voice. And even sometimes those debates, if it's a heated debate, it's unhealthy for you. The reason why is because your body don't know what's all that's about. All your body see and feel is your temperature going up, and what it's going to do then, your heart, it's preparing you, like biologically, to either fight or run.
Right.
And so therefore it's pumping all this adrenaline in your body. And that's why we get like that. You know what I'm saying? How we don't, and so it's bad for our heart and everything else when we get all of that adrenaline being pumped in the body and it's really not being utilized. You know what I'm saying? For what is there for. And that's why we have to, like you said, when you was able to do that, you was able to counteract that and start making your body reverse and shut down.
Yeah, that's good, Gerald.
We're not thinking properly anyway. You're just thinking of your feelings and that your feelings were hurt and you need to get your point across at that time. Nobody else's feelings, nobody else, not even yourself really at that time. It's just like fight. Like you
Right,
said.
because fight and flight is really an instinctive thing. It's an animalistic thing. It's not really a mental thing. Even though they say war is a thinking game and fighting is a thinking game, but it really that comes with maturity too.
Right.
But the first initial aspect of it is you trying to stay alive. That's the whole thing is about. Your
Right.
body trying to keep you alive. That's it.
I
Mm-hmm.
think that's important too, for parents who may be listening because, just working in education, we deal with all kinds of students, that have some of these challenges with their emotions and now they're at home all day. And
Right.
sometimes we're expecting an adult response
Mm-hmm.
out of a young person,
Right.
I have to tell parents that all the time. They're 12. Okay. So you should expect that behavior out of a 12-year-old, but when you get 12-year-old behavior out of a 24-year-old, that's different. Right? So even with our own families and our own children, just like we allow ourselves that grace, we got to extend some of that grace too, because a lot of times people are just being themselves. They're not trying to offend us. They're working in their own brokenness or their own programming. Some people do not have a filter.
That's
And
true.
so sometimes you're around people who don't have a filter, but if you're so open to everything, you're going to be offended all day long. You're going to be reacting all day long.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, real quick, just to wrap up, and then we're going to come back next week on YouTube and Facebook, you guys. Thank you so much. God has just enlarged our territory already. We're already on YouTube. Hey. But so we just wanted to come together, mind, body, and soul. Southern Girl, we have Gerald Hassan with Enlightening Minds, Fair Rat Lift with DDT Fit. So
Yeah.
that's your body, your mind, and your soul. And so just to wrap up, we talked about discipline. Who wants to wrap up real quick about discipline?
Go ahead, Farrah.
Now you got it.
Both of you can speak on it. I mean,
I
let's
would just say in regards to discipline that is very needed, and I think that for Black men particularly, that is one of the things that is hurting the Black male, the Black child, the Black man. I believe that whole discipline piece is one of the things that's keeping us from also unifying in ways that we need to be, as well as again just controlling the emotions and getting emotions uh, under wrap and just becoming everything that you desire you want to be, everything you need to be. It requires us to be more disciplined in all of those ways.
Right. That's true. I agree. Being disciplined is going to get you very, very far in life because everything don't work in your favor. You have to be accepting of things that don't always go your way, but always be disciplined to push through. Be disciplined to set goals and standards, and know that you can be anything you want to be in this life. But you have to be disciplined. You have to be dedicated and determined for your transformation.
That is so true. And I was going to add about discipline too. It's really taking an honest look at yourself. That's to be honest about what's keeping you from doing what you say you're going to do. Because
Right.
at the end of the day, that is your to-do list. At the end of the day, those are your goals. And
Right.
the biggest thing that gets in people's way is themselves. If you look and you see other people moving, but it's really not anybody getting any further ahead. They have the same 24 hours in a day,
That's right.
right? And
That's
so the biggest thing that gets in our way is ourselves. So I'm just encouraging you to get out your own way. Do the opposite of what you feel. So if you say you're going to work out 30 minutes and you don't feel like it, that is your key. That has become my key. When I don't feel like doing something, I do the opposite
right.
of what I feel. Okay, so then we talked about discipline, routines, and structure. Wrap up.
Routine and structure. What that brings to my mind right now in closing is rituals for success. that in our routines, when you think about our routines and our habits, right? The habits we have, the things that we do instinctively. Uh, when we desire to, again, to accomplish any goal, whether it be to be more healthier, to look a certain way, to eat a certain way, to quit doing something, to get a certain level of education, to be better in relationships, whatever, or whatnot. I would say we have to look at our habits and our routine, our rituals throughout the day, from the time that we wake up to the time that we go to sleep. How we spend the times when we don't have to do anything. How we
Right.
spend those moments when, in between time. And that is going to determine a lot in regards to how far we're going to get, as well as determine if we even going to reach a lot of those goals and aspirations and things that we say we want. And so, again, just when you think about the things of, the rituals you want to create, the habits you want to create, from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, those are things you got to consciously put into play. You have to when you do it enough, every day, it become a point where you don't even have to think about it no more. You've
Right.
created a pattern for success. You've created rituals for success.
Right.
That's the wall. That is the key. That's what I love about transformation, which is on my heart all the time. Because
Right.
what you just described is the wall that people hit. And as soon as
Right.
they hit that wall, that is them. That is the things that is inside of them that keep them from transitioning into who that evolution of themselves. As soon as people hit that wall, they don't want to change those behaviors. They don't want to change those patterns. Ooh, I got to do this. I got to get up. It's 9. No, you got to get up at 5:30 now. You
No
know,
risk, no reward.
no risk, no reward. So that's the wall. What you say, Fair? No risk.
No risk, no reward. You can either stay stuck or move forward. It's your life. It's your decision. But you can do it. A lot of what a lady told me. She said, "Girl, you look good." She said, "But you have that in you to do." That hurt my feelings because my DDT stands to let people know that no, 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 no. Everybody has it in them.
That's
It's
right.
in there. You just have to pull it out, and you have to want to pull it out. But don't think that you don't have it, baby. Yes, you do. And
That's
that in my
why.
message, purpose, and passion, that's what I try to pull out of people with DDT. It's not just always to look good, but it's to feel good and know that you are worth it. You are worth it and you matter. You have it in you. You can pull it out, but you have to stay dedicated and determined. You have to want it. And you can get past that wall. But it takes steps. It takes discipline, consciousness, just like Hassan said, and I agree with both of y'all. But yeah, those are the steps you have to take.
And that's why people need to connect with you, Farrah, DDT Fit, real quick. How did they
Right.
connect?
You can follow me on IG at DDT Weight, and then on Facebook, Farrah Ratliff, and I also have a Facebook support group called DDT Fit /support group on Facebook. And you can go find workouts there, meal plans. If you go to the files, I have so much stuff in the files box. If you go there, I have so much stuff. I've been in this group since 2017, and that's when I first stepped out with DDT, not knowing if I was going to touch anybody. And I said, God, if I help one person by making this group, I thank you. And I have. So you guys join me, DDT all day, every day.
You've helped me, Farrah.
Thank you, sweetheart. You too, big sis.
All right. And Mr. Hassan, any other how do they find you? Enlightening Minds Enterprise?
Yeah, Enlightened Minds Enterprise on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Gerald Hassan the Children's on Twitter. And also the website is enlighteningminds.com, as well as the email address is info@enlighteningmindsent.com.
All right. Well, you have had your mind, body, and soul segment here today on Monday. It is Motivational Monday. We know that we have planted some seeds that will take fruit and manifest in your life if you take and apply these skills every day. So thank you so much for joining us. This is Southern Girl, that's GURL, giving understanding, real and loving. And we will see you back here next time for our Motivational Monday. Thank you.